What up, YouTube? This is Daniel Rucker with True Table. Welcome to the table. Today I'm going to talk about a subject matter that cycles constantly around the space that is relationships. As you guys know, most of the content that I do and that I review is based around this space. Men, women, relationships, and all those things that are combined. But I want to touch on this whole provision mindset and how the mindset of women, and more so maybe modern women, is centered around the level of provisions that a man should have in order for them to feel comfortable or secure in choosing this partner to be with. So before I get cooking though, before I jump in the kitchen and do what I do best, get in here and start cooking, please go ahead and hit the like button. Go ahead and subscribe if you feel it also necessary. I greatly appreciate it. So, provisions and being a provider. Why did you want to talk about this, Daniel? Why did you feel it necessary to have to give your 2 cents on what you see? Well, I believe it's a loaded type of situation. And what I mean by loaded is that on one hand, I can understand how the idea of meeting a man who has all of the necessary resources and all of the components that would make for your lifestyle as a woman being his wife easier. I can understand how in a theoretical or an idealistic situation that would be what you would prefer. That would be something that you would say, okay, this is how I'll see my life. This is how it should work out. This is how I want it to work out. So that's what I'm going to stick with. So on one hand, I understand. On the other hand, I don't understand at all. And the main reason I don't understand is because, see, the reality is most people have to work. Most people have to work majority of their life. Most people will work well into their older age, and that's just the landscape of how society runs, right? This idea that you go from being a grown woman and then finding someone who wants to marry you, and now you're absorbed of your grownness in a sense of your ability to make money, your ability to earn money, your ability to produce certain resources. Now your resources are no longer needed because you found, a husband found you, or whichever, however you want to phrase it. That's the part that gets me a little bit concerned. And the main reason it gets me concerned, because I think it's sending the wrong message. I think the message telling young ladies that your sole focus should be finding a man that can solely provide for you, I believe is problematic, and I believe it's wrong. I'm gonna tell you why. Because I think that most of the things, especially in this realm, certain things in life belong to certain classifications of people. What does that mean? That means that anything you look at, anything that is high performing, anything that is considered unique, anything that is considered rare, is going to belong to a very small minority of people. And in this sense, there's no different. Most men who go out to try to be professional basketball players will not make the team. Most men who try to go out and be professional football players will never ever step foot on an NFL field as a professional football player. Most women that marry will not be a housewife. This is reality. And this is across the board. And see, the problem is that we live in a society now that promotes this type of entitlement attitude, which I believe is keeping a lot of women single. I heard a young lady earlier, which kind of more so motivated me to want to talk about this on a podcast. And she was saying, as I hear a lot of women say over and over and over again, each and every night that I'm listening to different content creators, that the measure of the man that they believe they should be with is based on what they've been able to accomplish. And I can understand how they can come to that conclusion to a degree, because it's based in their own female logic. But one of the things I've always said is it's problematic to allow for a woman to establish certain things in her life if she plans on being married, and then sets those things as now the parameters of what that man should have when she meets him. Because there's variables involved. And that's the part that, again, no one's talking about. So this young lady, I believe she mentioned that she was in her late 20s. She had a house, she had a car. She had, decent salary, whichever. And most of those things are what any adult would have acquired outside of maybe a house. In most cases, most people have a place to stay. They have an apartment, a townhome, a condo. However, they don't live at their mom and dad's house. And I think that more so should be the focus point. That as an adult, you provide yourself with a space that's adequate to be an adult, to live an independent lifestyle. However, in this particular broadcast, this young lady was emphasizing the fact that she had a home. And that's fine. That was a choice that she made. Now, I'll tell you, for me, if I was in a position to where I was looking to pursue her or somebody who had a home, me being a man and then you having your home, well, see, then it becomes a problem, because if I decide now that I want to marry you, you're selling your home that you worked hard for or whichever, and that could cause for a particular problem. And those things could obviously be worked out. But see, it's a very loaded thing, and I'm going to try to condense it. And I already know that I'm going to have to do multiple broadcasts about this particular topic, which is totally fine. And that's what I'm here for. But the problem is that we live in a society that is promoting, in my opinion, wrong information to women, getting them to buy into this fantasy that you're going to find a man that is going to absolve you of all of your financial responsibilities as a grown woman and put you in a position to where you won't ever have to worry about money, to the point to where you could have leisure, to the point to where you could be provided for the way you want to be provided for. Because see, the argument usually is that it's not the fact that men cannot provide, it's the fact that the men cannot necessarily provide the way you want them to provide. When you involve a man in your finances, and when you involve a man in your equation that is your lifestyle, a lot of times men will look at the purchases that you make and then look at it and be like, why are you spending $300 a month on getting your nails done? That's $3,600 a year. Why are you spending this amount of money on this? Why are you, we're very practical in the way that we spend money in most cases. And see, the problem is that it boils down to perspective. It boils down to outlook and communication. And I think that it's very much an issue, because you have so many women who are holding out for this situation. Now, this is what I wanted to touch on. Ladies, try to imagine being a man and having the ability to provide a lifestyle for any woman that you wanted. Like, if you were a man and you had unlimited resources, you essentially have something that most people would never ever attain. You have a prized possession. You're successful. You have resources. You are rich or wealthy or whichever it may be. So the question lies, if that man is in that position, why would he pick you out of the other 4 billion, 5 billion women, 4.4 billion women on the planet? And see, that's the problem. That's the question right there. See, I don't think any women are asking themselves that question. Because one thing I know about people, and then I specifically know about men, if they have the option of being able to purchase, because essentially this is what you're doing. You're acquiring a woman. You're acquiring a mate. You're acquiring a wife. We're talking about money. This is a business transaction. Let's be clear. So if I was in the business of trying to acquire a woman with unlimited resources, I am going to acquire the absolute best that my money has to offer, like that my money has to buy. And there again lies the problem. Most women are average. Most women are not 9s and 10s. Most women don't deserve that lifestyle. And what I mean by deserve, because I use the word loosely, is that particular lifestyle is like a fringe benefit. It's like a benefits package. That is usually only allotted to a very small minority of women who can say that they will never have to worry about money, that the man in their life provides for them in every financial aspect that they could dream of and some, that they could shop till they drop, money is no object. So therefore, their particular earning potential is irrelevant. Most women cannot say that. Most women will never experience that. But most women are sitting out the game of attaching to adequate men, and men that they more than likely will have long lasting, substantial, healthy relationship with, because this particular man is not on the economical level that you believe he should be, based on his age or based on his choice of his work or trade or career. And then you're measuring it based on what you decided to do. You're measuring it based on the debt that you decided to create. And now, because you lived an independent life, not thinking about this man that, in the way that you should have been thinking about him, I'm going to go out here and I'm going to get $50,000, $60,000 worth of school debt. Check. Then I'm going to turn around and I'm going to go ahead and give me a house for $300,000, $400,000. Check. Then I'm going to go out and give me a car and some excess other things. So by the time he meets you, he's staring down the barrel of $500,000 of debt that he never agreed to. But yet, you believe that this is okay behavior because it's what you want. The audacity of the modern woman's mindset is scary to me on a lot of levels. And the main reason I wanted to talk about this is because I think that on one hand, I understand how it sounds good to say, oh, I want to get married, meet a man, and have him take care of me. But on the other hand, I also understand that the likeliness of that happening is probably non-existent, and you probably will never experience that. Most women will never experience that. That belongs to a very small minority group of women. Very small. And so what I would like to see is more women grow to understand that you're wasting your time trying to hold out for this guy who's gonna come and eliminate your problems. He's gonna come and save you, essentially. Unless you are that girl who everybody wants. And I mean everybody. I mean the highest of the highs, the royal figures, public figures, famous people, successful people, down to the struggling folks. Unless you're that girl, you more than likely have to do a fair assessment and figure out where you fall. Because in most cases, you're probably going to fall more into the 80 percentile of other women who are going to have to work alongside their husband and work together to support their family and work together to provide for their children and so on and so forth. And what's wrong with that? What is wrong with finding a man who finds value in you and that you guys combined income produces a decent life? I talked to a couple a few months ago and they were complaining about money, and what was interesting was that once when we really pulled apart what they were doing, between the two of them, they're making in the low six figures. But the average household income in America is $56,000, and they were making double that. So I kind of was like, well, why are you arguing about money? I don't understand. On paper, you're doing quite well. So what's going on? And usually, again, it's variables. You're either living beyond your means, or you're trying to create this lifestyle where you think you're going to go to Dubai every 3 months or Hawaii every summer, and that's just not realistic for most people. And I don't know why the truth is so sobering to individuals. I don't know why people don't like to hear the truth. Like when you tell them that the likeliness of this happening is probably 1 in 100 million or whichever, they almost want to get upset and battle you on the fact that, well, you can't tell people what's possible. No, I can't tell you what's possible, but I can't tell you what's more than likely probable, because numbers don't lie. Continued studies of what happens on a regular occurrence, it's very easy to start to assess what more than likely your life will look like. And I think that that's where most people need to live. Most women in particular need to start to understand that the life that you want to have, you can have a fruitful, loving, fulfilled, successful, financially healthy lifestyle. It may not look like a Jay-Z and Beyonce's. It may not look like who was married, Russell Simmons and Comoras at one time, or Kim and Kanye when they were together. It may not look like that. Those people are exceptions to the rule, and that's just it. Ladies, are you the exception? Not based on the way you feel. Are you truly the exception? Most of you are not the exception. Most of you are definitely the rule, and that's okay. But spending your life well into your late 20s, early 30s, trying to, create more opportunity to segue into a different lifestyle, to me is just counterproductive, and it just doesn't make much sense. One of the things that I observed, in specifically the Asian community, which kind of have me tickled, I get tickled sometimes in some of my thoughts, especially with hearing some of this content about how, I want to be taken care of and I want to be saved and all this stuff. What I love about the Asian community, there's a lot of things, but one thing in particular is that every time I've seen an Asian man have a shop or a business, guess who's right there with him? His wife. This woman is working alongside her husband. And sometimes they have one business, sometimes they have several businesses. It don't even matter. The laundromats, the nail shops, the liquor stores, doesn't matter. But the point in the visuals that I see, I don't see a woman being taken care of. I don't see a woman sitting on her butt, not doing anything, and just shopping all day while her man is out there busting his butt. I don't see that. What I see is that they're both in it together, working the vision, working their business to provide for their family, their legacy. And that's respectable. It's actually applauded, specifically in their community. So I don't know where this new notion of now, well, I only want him if he can take care of me. Ladies, I'm here to tell you, Daniel's here to tell you, the likeliness of that happening, unless you belong to that elite group of women, and I mean elite, like Avenger level, in a sense. That's how rare it is. You're more than likely going to have to work or have some type of skill that brings in financial provisions to help provide for your lifestyle. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that, in my opinion. And I think that more young ladies need to buy into that and stop looking for these lottery ticket, opportunities in relationships. You are moving yourself off of a market and moving yourself out of the opportunities of meeting someone who probably is perfect for you and great. And you guys can have something beautiful and tangible and long lasting and fruitful and all of this stuff. So I just wanted to jump on here today, and speak to this for the 20 minutes. I know I went a little over. And like I said, I'm going to have to reiterate this because it's something that I continue to see occurring. But I wanted to try to give a little bit more insight, a little bit more information, maybe a different perspective that I'm sorry. I'm going to tell you, and it may not be popular. Most of you women will never experience that lifestyle. Most of you women will never have that type of experience to be able to not ever have to work and just stay at home and be provided for the rest of your remaining days. It's a very small minority of women. That's just what it is. So anyway, thank you for hanging out with me for the last 20 minutes or so. I appreciate it. If you have not done so already, go ahead and hit that like button. Go ahead and subscribe. I appreciate it. And until next time, this is Daniel Rucker signing out with True Table. You guys have a good one. Appreciate it.